Hi, I'm John Lacey,
And I'm Sam Proof.
and we're here to talk about this week's video and live streaming news. So, Sam, we're fast approaching Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Every man, woman,
Yes.
child, and pet is eager for us to buy some new exciting equipment. I know Elgato has an exciting new thing called the Stream Deck Plus. Have you seen anything about this one yet?
Oh yeah, I took a quick look. I haven't gone totally in depth, but this is for me a very exciting update to the Elgato. I'm a big fan of the Stream Deck. I have one here. If my cable was longer, I would show it. I actually have two, one for my studio, one for my in-house computer. And my biggest complaint has always been it has no knobs. And they have solved this by adding knobs. And not to mention knobs, it also now has a little touch panel. So I'm excited to see what the implications of that are specifically.
Yeah, so it looks like I mean I'm looking at it right now. It looks like it's got sort of the eight buttons that we know
Yeah.
traditionally, and then four knobs, and also that display, which I guess you can touch as well. Um, I mean it looks really cool. I probably am not running out to buy one just because I've got the Stream Deck Extra Large and I've got other things with buttons and knobs on them to press. But it
Right.
is really cool. And Elgato, if you want me to review one, please get in touch.
Or if you
But
want us to review too.
yes, yeah, absolutely. So I guess, although I must admit, yesterday I was working on a different computer, and I've got the Stream Deck Extra Large on this
Yeah.
computer, but I went back to my Mini, and it had a grand total of six buttons, and it's amazing how limiting that can be sometimes.
Sure.
So it
Yes.
is interesting that this particular model only has the eight. So do you think
Yeah.
that would impact the way that you might use this bit of equipment?
Um, I think it's going to have a slightly different lean towards its usage, and I think it'll pair up nicely with anyone who does already have the extra large or the default, which is the 15, the base model, which I have. Um, I'm curious for a few things whether or not those knobs are just dials or if they actually push in and out as well, because that would simply replace a button that existed if it is also a push feature. A lot of us already have a mute and unmute button, but now if you have a dial that can mute and unmute and adjust sound, that'd be great. Um, Much like how I think a lot of people might use the Mini is to sort of communicate with the bigger Stream Deck on like different profiles and panels and stuff like that, I think this will do as well.
Sure. So it's I mean, like I said, it looks really cool. I don't know if I'll be running out to buy it as such, but one other thing that was an exciting development is in relation to this, they've also updated the Stream Deck software. So, and this will work even for those of us that don't have knobs on our Stream Decks. And there's some exciting new features in here. Some of them I haven't really even had a chance to explore yet. But we've got things, in terms of the OBS. Things we've actually got all the standard record pause stream replay replay buffer, all those great things that I'm so used to using. But there were some there's one that sort of really caught my eye, and I haven't quite wrapped my brain around how I might use it yet. But in the multi-action, they actually now have a random action option. So you potentially can press a button, and one of any number of things could happen. I still, I'm really intrigued, but I haven't quite figured out a use for that one just yet.
Yeah, I think I haven't actually seen the improvements yet. This was news to me when you brought it up, and I was like, oh, dang, I missed a thing. I did see this because you mentioned it earlier. And I have some insight onto using random functions. I do a lot of things on my computers with macros or a chatbot that use random functions. So for anyone who's not doing that already with those things, they could do that now with the Elgato. Um, so depending on where we're at, the beauty of the Stream Deck is that it is not just a streamer's tool. A lot of people look at it and see it's associated with live streaming and they think that's all it is. This thing works with Photoshop, it works with any of your Microsoft, any app, any, program, you can find a use for it. So what I do as far as random functions go in in the world, when I'm just doing social media, I have a random function to queue replies so that it's not the same reply every time but gets the same point across. And you could just hit that button and it'll have that comment or reply, that you can drop on YouTube or Twitter or wherever you're going. And it just has a queue of things that it shuffles through. um, on stream you could do a bunch of just random graphics or sound effects depending on the style of stream you have. You could have it pick a random number, or if you're doing game streaming, you could pick a random weapon that you need to acquire and play with, whatever, things like that. I think there's a lot of potential to random.
Yeah, I'm sure there is, and as I say, I haven't quite figured out what I might do with it, but I'm certainly open to exploring it too. And I don't know if this is new or I've just never noticed it, but they literally have a new category of options in the software now called navigation, and it looks like they've brought a whole bunch of things that were in some other places together. So creating folders, switching profiles, previous page, next page, go to a particular page, and even page indicator. So it'll let you know which page of 18, 20 screens that you're actually on, which sounds like it could be quite useful as well.
Oh, definitely. As long as you're not limited to 8 buttons. If you have extra buttons, I think that'd be a great indicator to have. Yeah, it's I
Yes.
don't recall that. It sounds like they just uh, found a smarter way to group those things. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, and as you say, like you can do any number of things. Anything that has a traditional keyboard shortcut, you can sort of set up a button for. I know in my day job, I have certain text responses that I use day in day out, and I'm sure they've saved me, years of my life from just typing the same things over and over again. It's amazing how quickly you sort of earn some of this time back.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm excited to see what everyone does with the Stream Deck Plus and the new options and the random feature and all that. So let us know what you're going to use those for.
Absolutely. So again, Sam, I mentioned the Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I kind of like it. It is exciting. There are all kinds of wonderful specials out there, or there are about to be at least. And I just want to encourage everybody to take a good look at what they're already working with before they get too excited by all the new shinies, because there's some great stuff out there. But do you need it? Do you want it? You might need to take a step back and think about those things. And I must admit, this year I'm actually more interested in sort of software subscriptions than hardware. And I find personally that's sort of a harder sell sometimes, because there's something about the tangibility of holding the microphone in your hands that makes it a little bit easier for me to justify the expense. But I've already sort of purchased an annual subscription to Restream, for example. There are a couple of other things that I'm looking out for as well. Sam, do you have any Black Friday, Cyber Monday advice?
I think take this with the grain of salt that I myself am probably not going to jump over and buy the Stream Deck Plus, though I would like it very much. I will be adding that to my wish list and hoping a relative purchases it for me. But if you don't already have a Stream Deck, go get this. I think it's a great purchase. You're going to use it, especially if you're someone who does multiple creative things. If you're a streamer and you do Photoshop, you do editing, there is a use for all of those new features in those programs. Um, so yeah, I think it's worth the, what is it, $200? Uh,
I'm
but
not sure actually. I
you
haven't
know,
haven't seen the price of that
I think
yet.
it's probably somewhere around there is my guess.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, if money's tight, it's not needed. You don't absolutely 100% need this to get started today to do all of those things I just said. But if you have that extra money floating around and you can justify the expense without missing a meal, I say get it.
And I think that those are all fair points. I guess again, I don't want to sound too frugal because I'm very happy to spend money at the best of times. But again, just take a moment, look at what you actually got. My favorite piece of software, OBS Studio, is always free. So if
Yeah.
you're just dipping your toe into streaming, that's a really great place to start. A lot of the software packages also give you sort of trial options, so really make sure you're happy with what you're getting before you have that financial outlay.
Yeah, I would back that. If you're just getting started with streaming, you don't need to drop $200 on anything. Um, but if you've been doing it for a while and you know it's something you're gonna be doing for 5 years, 10 years, the rest of your life, then invest in the good stuff. Like this is something I've heard from carpenters and engineers, a long time ago. Was like, if this is a thing you're going to use daily, don't get the $2 hammer, get the $10 hammer. It's going to last you.
Absolutely. So Sam, is there any other sort of hardware or software that you're excited about? I know there's been a lot of releases lately. It's probably hard to keep up with all of them.
There's a lot going on right now. It's hard to keep straight because I got invited to a few betas lately, and I don't even think they are things that are publicly available to buy. But keep an eye out on Adobe Blink, which is kind of their answer to Descript. I think that's going to be interesting, especially if you're someone who has the Adobe suite or software already, because it'll, I'm sure, seamlessly work with that. Is basically a an AI assistant to editing, instantly transcribes all of your footage and lets you make your edits based on copy and pasting your text to various places, much like Descript does. I think Descript does a little more, and Blink needs to catch up, but keep an eye on that. I don't think it's available to purchase yet. I think it's invite only. Um, Gosh, there's a lot of AI stuff that I'm like cautiously optimistic about, and then also at the same time like, oh god, none of us are going to have anything to do anymore because it's all robots. um, but yeah, I think there's a whole wave of things to look at. Copy.ai will help you with creating those awesome like headers and hooks for your videos and even give you video ideas, which is good. uh, what is it? Tube Mogul, for those of you who are video creators, is a great insight to just how other videos are performing. So I think those are my top suggestions at this time.
Nice. And I think this is I personally have a lot of feelings about AI tools, but that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
I probably should mention too, just that TechSmith have their Audiate product, which is sort of in that same sort of Blink uh, area as well. So I mean, I'm not a huge fan of AI tools, and like I said, we can unpack that with my therapist in another podcast. But I guess the one thing I do like using it for is transcription, and I think video
Yeah.
transcription is very important, and it's really time consuming. And I have been using Descript a little bit lately. I'm really hoping that they've got some sort of wonderful deal shortly that I can get involved with, because I think that's probably the direction I'm headed in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's so much out there. I guess I think it's important too to take a step back and just think about what your personal goals are, or your business goals too, and just make sure that it's going to serve a need that you have, and not just keep you entertained for a couple of weeks before you lose
Right.
interest.
Right. Yeah, no, make sure it's something you're going to commit to before you spend any money.
Absolutely. All right, Sam. So where can people find you if they want to learn more about you and watch your videos and all those good things?
Yeah, I'm Sam Proof on all the socials except TikTok, where I'm official Sam Proof. But you can find me streaming on Twitch most mornings, Monday through Friday, and dropping content on youtube.com/Sam Proof.
Nice. And if you want to catch up with anything I'm doing, you can head over to johnlacey.com. They've got all the links over there to all of the things. So thanks again, Sam.
Thank you, John.